Get ready to get sticky. Sticky Situations is sponsored by Corona Crush. Corona Crush is creating Jewish couples always. Join the Facebook group. Just search Corona Crush and look out for virtual speed dating events happening every other week. They're 100% free and 100% Jewish. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sticky Situations. I'm your host, Rachel, which obviously you already know because I'm unforgettable. Everyone, right now, whatever platform you're listening on, go give us a 5-star rating. Well, no, go subscribe, follow, whatever the platform allows for. Give us a 5-star rating and a glowing review. Good reviews only. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Or you can DM me constructive criticism. I'm always happy to hear from you. Everyone go like Sticky Situations page on Facebook, follow Sticky Situations Pod on Instagram, follow Sticky Situations Pod on TikTok. And if you want to be a guest on my podcast, there are applications in the Corona Crush post. Honestly, I'm really looking for more guests. I'm always looking for more guests. This is like an ongoing thing. So even if you're hearing this months and months later, please reach out because I want more guests. It doesn't matter where you are, what gender you are, how old you are, if you've been married for a while, like, I don't care. I want to hear your dating stories whenever they occurred. Gender, sexuality, location, doesn't matter to me. I want to hear from you. Religious level, like, all religious levels are welcome. I want to hear your Jewish dating stories. So yeah, applications are in the Corona Crush post. They're also somewhere in the socials. I don't really remember where they are though, but you can also just send me a DM on Instagram at Sticky Situations Pod, or send me an email at stickysituationspod@gmail.com. Same goes for if you would like to date any of my single guests. Just send me a DM, send me an email, and I'll try to hook it up for you. I'm always trying, so you never know. Okay, everybody, let's get right into the episode because I have an extra special guest, long anticipated. Everyone, please welcome my friend Fanya. Fanya, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Very excited to be here.
I'm really excited to have you here. Fanya and I had a Shabbos meal together like probably a year ago, and I was like, come on the podcast. And she was like, okay. And then we never did it. And then we had a Shabbos meal again a couple months ago. And I'm like, okay, so you're coming on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we're here and I'm excited. Okay, so Fanya, before we get into the actual episode, can you just tell me and my listeners a couple identifying details about yourself? Your age, location, relationship status, and religious denomination.
Okay. Age, I am 27. Relationship status, I am newly in a relationship. Very, very new, very unlike me. I'm very much known in the friend group to like be bouncing around, dating a bunch of different people, having the stories in the group chat for later. Location, I'm in New York. I'm in the city. Yeah. Religious denomination. I grew up like very modern. My parents were immigrants from the Soviet Union who did a lot to get me, like me and my siblings are the first generation in 120 years to have Jewish education and speak Hebrew and like be able legally to live as proud Jews and Zionists. And that's not something I take for granted at all.
Wow.
But like we really like grew up super modern. I have a lot of like secular, not affiliated family. And then I had like my family became more and more observant over the last like 25 years, I would say, but I also like had a very frum phase towards the end of college and afterwards. I was like Shomer Negia for 4.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really stark. And and I think I've mellowed out since then. I think that my religious observance levels have definitely, first of all, like I definitely like separate like religious observance and like how religious you are, because I've always been like a believer, etc. But my religious observance has obviously shifted and changed and morphed with me as I've grown as a person.
Yeah. No, I get that. I usually ask the question just so people get an idea of like your dating pool.
Oh, I'm like super monox, but like I also have dated in the shidduch world.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that like gives us an idea of your stories.
I have definitely dated in the shidduch world, and I threw an F Hamas party with big balloons that said F Hamas on my roof, and that's how I met my current boyfriend. But then like we were both seeing other people or being interested in other people. We reconnected a year later on Hinge.
Wow.
Yeah. So like that's kind of the vibe. In the community, but also, yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. Well, you just told us a little half a story, but should we get into your stories?
Oh, Rachel.
I'm excited.
Oh my gosh. Like there's so many different kinds of stories that would be like, I'm like thinking what I should even talk about. The funniest story, the most crazy out of the box story ever. I was in La Marais
Okay.
on like a first or second date.
For those of you who don't know, La Marais is like a kosher steakhouse in Midtown.
It's like really nice. It's pretty fancy for a first or second date. And a lot of
Yeah.
people go there for like business dinners, business lunches.
Yeah.
And there's a top floor and a downstairs, right? So we're downstairs. And I think I was saying something like, oh, like what are your interests? What are your hobbies? And this man, we had just ordered apps, okay? This man fully turns to me and goes, I love birds. And I went, excuse me? He goes, I want to create a welcoming home for birds. And I said, what about children? And he goes, I collect bird paraphernalia. I have 4 pet birds. Here's some pictures, pulls out his phone and starts showing me. He goes, this is Chanel. This is what the names of the birds. And he goes, I love bird watching. I go on bird trips. I dress up as a bird for Halloween and Purim. Like he's going on and on about birds. All around us, by the way, are Hasidic men doing business deals. The waiter is coming by me with the appetizers, and he goes, and I can do an amazing bird call. The red tailed whatever. Do you want to hear? I'm like, what? The waiter's coming this way. The Hasidic men are all around us, and he goes, caw, caw. And I literally had to be, wow, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I was like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And then I had to sit there for another hour and a half with a man who had just made bird noises at me. He seemed so normal also before that,
Oh
and I
my
could
God.
never see him the same way again.
Wait, how did you find this
This was a
guy?
shidduch match.
Oh wow.
Yeah. This was a
Wow.
matchmaker situation.
Yeah, I think that's where I would leave.
What was I supposed to do? We just ordered apps, and like I sat there and I was like, yay.
I would have gone to the bathroom and be like, "Oh, actually, I'm having tummy problems. I'm gonna go home."
Actually having explosive diarrhea
And then block his number.
and I need to leave. No, it's like it was unhinged. It was so crazy and still not the worst date I've ever been on.
That's
Because he was very polite, honestly.
Did the Hasidim like
Oh, they were looking
like
at us. They were literally like, what are these two people? Who is this blonde girl and this guy making bird noises in La Marais? And he like made a few different ones thinking that I would know the difference and being like, this is gonna for sure get the ladies. Like, this is my move. This is my go-to. And now there's a guy on Instagram that does Havdalah with parrots.
Is it him?
No, but every time my friends see this video come up about this guy doing Havdalah with parrots, they always send it to me. I swear, every time, every single time. But people who peripherally have heard this story through a friend send it to me.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
who is this Josh? I don't know you. And he's sending me a video of a guy with parrots doing Havdalah. And I'm like, wow, I feel called out right now.
That's so weird. That's so funny though. Wait, okay, so you said he was normal otherwise?
Yeah. This guy, like, he was in law school. He was in law school. He grew up in a super normal family. Like, there were no red flags. None. Zero.
Except the bird thing.
Zero except for the bird. And he thought it was going to be his quirky, fun interest. And I was like, this is the reason why we can't be together.
So, okay,
It was like, do you want to be in a relationship with the birds? Are you
No.
trying to be in a relationship with these birds? Is the situation?
No, not at all, ever. Okay, if you would have not made the bird noises, would you have gone on another date?
It's a good question. I think it depends. I think it depends how the rest of the date would have gone. Because I spent the rest of the date thinking about how he makes bird noises.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
I couldn't continue the rest of the day.
That's fair. Immediate ick.
I literally couldn't think about anything else.
Like beyond ick. Like that's like deal breaker right there.
No, it was insane. And it was embarrassing. It's not like he made these bird noises in a park with other birds. He made the bird noises in a steakhouse with Hasidim.
Yeah. And La Marais is like nice.
Yeah, like,
it's pretty like
the room.
It's not like a loud bustling restaurant.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
mean, it can be at night sometimes, but like this, I think it was like a lunch date. Like, what are you doing?
yeah, it's like but even like the ambiance in it is not like the type
like
that's
that.
like loud music, loud
It's not
vibes,
like
whatever.
that.
It's like
This is not like
quiet, chill,
that. It's not
like
like that.
people go there for a nice meal.
People go there for a nice meal, for steak and fries and a salad. You
Yeah.
cannot do that. It's around.
No.
So crazy.
That's so weird. So did you tell the Shah Khan?
I said, I think that we're not a match. And she goes, why? And I said, well, I think that he has like really particular interests. I think he's super quirky. I think he's a nice guy. He's just not for me.
I would have
She didn't
told
ask
her.
any follow. She didn't ask me any follow. This was for me very new into dating,
Okay.
especially very new into shit of dating.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't even know.
Like, if that happened to me now, I would legitimately tell the
Well,
person
yeah,
who
it's
set it
a
up,
different
like,
thing, yeah.
he made bird noises in the restaurant.
Right. I'm 27 now. At that time, I was like 21,
Yeah,
22.
okay, you were young.
I was like, oh, I don't want to make myself look bad to the shotgun. Like, I wanted to still like me.
Yeah.
Now at 27, I'd be like, this man that you suggested to me made bird noises in front of Hasidim. What are you going to say for yourself? What are you going to say for yourself?
Bring one of the Hasidim in as a witness.
I would have been like, apologize. And I would have stayed there until she goes, Khatati, Pashati, and thank herself. I would have been like, do you have anything to say for yourself? It was crazy.
Oh my God.
Still not the worst that I've ever been on.
Oh my gosh, I'm scared.
The worst that I've ever been on? Mom and dad, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I hope you're not. But basically, this guy that I met, this was before my social media phase. This was like, I wore pants, I ate out dairy. Like, that was the vibe. I met this guy either at a part, some Jewish event or party or something like that. Maybe Jay's Flight back in the day, back before it was like, eh, back in
Yeah.
the day. Like, really, I was like 19, maybe 20 years old. He comes and picks me up from my parents' house on a motorcycle. I get on this motorcycle where he's like, we're gonna go to this bar or whatever. I'm like, okay. We get to the bar. He takes out his phone and he goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. My brother has been in a horrible car accident. And I'm like, oh my gosh. He's like, can I drop you off at home and we can reschedule? And I go, oh my gosh, of course, no problem. Like, your brother was in an accident. He takes me back home. He drops me off. I text him like 4 hours later. Hey, like, is everything okay with your brother? Like, please let me know if you need anything. Like, I'm like, are you like, is everything okay? Doesn't respond to me. Puts on his Snapchat story, like something with DJ equipment. And I respond to the story being like, that's funny. I didn't know that there's DJ equipment in the hospital. He blocks me.
Oh my
And then I
God.
reach out to his sister going, is your brother okay? Like, is he all right? Like from the hospital? Like I was just like,
Like,
I'm
you
like,
knew his
yeah,
sister?
yeah, I knew his sister. He didn't know that I knew his sister. But I
Oh.
was like, is your brother okay from the hospital? But basically I was like, she goes, wait, my brother? You mean Elliot? I was like, no, Josh or whatever. And she goes, I don't have a brother, Josh. He made up a fake brother and a fake car accident to get out of dating me. And it wasn't like, oh, like I catfished him on an app or whatever. He met me at a party. He knew me from real life.
That's wild.
And this man was like, I was like 20 or whatever. He was like 25. This was like a grown ass man who 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 made up a fake brother and a fake accident to get out of a date with me.
That's so.
And didn't think, and then I told his sister what happened. She was like, I'm telling my mom.
Oh my God. What
I
did the mom say?
heard that he got in trouble. I
Good.
heard from his sister that he got in trouble, and honestly, I felt vindicated from that.
Honestly, good. I think some of these moms should know what their sons
Yeah.
are doing.
It's crazy. No, it's really crazy. Like, I also think that there's such a way that these guys talk to women
Yeah.
that is they think that they're never gonna get called out for it. And so it's not like, oh, he's a bad person. I'm not saying that. He's probably a great person. I think this particular guy like served in IDF, like I know he did a lot.
You're a good
But
person.
here's the thing,
Good
I'm
people
sure
treat people nicely.
listen, like I ever in my life like treated someone poorly by accident or I wasn't thinking, whatever? Sure, I have. Like no one's perfect. But I think there's specifically something about guys in Jewish dating thinking that it'll never get back to that, like it'll never come back to haunt them. And I'm like, guys, it's a small community. Girls talk. We all know each other. I'm gonna look you
Yeah.
up and find your cousins. Try me,
Yeah.
test me.
It is really dumb because we do all talk.
It's not like I'm dating a random person in Idaho, coming back to New York and being like, I hope this isn't following me to Nebraska. No, it's like literally we all live in
No.
the same city. We all talk to each other. We go to
Even
some
if we
events.
do, even if the people who don't live in in New York City,
It'll still get back to you.
like everybody knows somebody, and it's like,
I was literally just talking to someone about like this guy who's like Jewish in Alaska. and like he's like a fourth generation Alaskan, and like how like he would be a perfect match for whatever. And like my boyfriend's mom was saying that she knew him, and my best friend, like one of my closest friends who grew up in like Westchester, knows him from when she worked at a non-Jewish camp in Alaska.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? We'll find each other.
we all know each other. Like I've been at Shabbos meals, like all girls meals, where
Yeah.
it comes up that like multiple people have dated the same guy
Yeah.
and they talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So treat people nicely. Treat people with respect. I have like a policy. I don't ghost people. Since I've been dating my boyfriend, like a few guys have reached out from my past being like, "Hey, what's up?" Because they have a sixth sense about when you started to date someone. So they're
Hmm.
like, "Hey, what's up? How are you?" And I'm like, "Hey, out of respect for my boyfriend, like I'm not gonna speak to you, but I didn't want to ghost you. I didn't want to just leave you on red. I think that's really rude. Like just so you know. I
Yeah.
always do that. And it's been like a few times in the last 3 months. Like I will never, ever, ever, ever leave someone on red. I think it's so rude. I think it's so rude.
Yeah, I try not to also. Um, there are certain times, like I'm not perfect. Again, I'm not perfect. I've definitely talked to guys on dating apps and like nothing has happened. Like we never like talked on the phone even, never went on a date. Nothing ever materialized aside from talking on dating app, maybe texting.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I just get bored of the conversation or I get the ick and then I just don't answer.
Right.
But I try not
But these are
to.
people that I knew from real life. Like these are guys
Oh,
that I
yeah, yeah.
dated or
No,
like whatever.
I would never do that.
Yeah.
I would also like if it's a guy I talked to for a long time, I wouldn't just like ghost him out of the blue. If we talked on the phone, I wouldn't ghost him. If we went on a date, I for sure wouldn't ghost him. At least
Yeah.
now. I definitely have in the past.
Probably
But
did when I was like in my early 20s, but I don't do that now. I'm like very strict about it.
no, I mean the only
My boyfriend was like, "Why don't you just not respond?" I'm like, "Cause guys do that. I'm not
yeah.
doing that because I've been ghosted and it sucks.
Yeah,
Because you don't
no.
know the other person is in a new relation. You have no idea what's going on. You don't know
Yeah.
anything. So yeah.
Yeah, I had that also like when I was in a relationship, like either guys I was talking to before we were like exclusive or just guys came back from earlier that had been talking to. I would just tell them I'm like, "Oh, hey, I started dating someone."
Yeah.
Like I'll let you know if that changes or I can reach out if anything changes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in general, like I try again, not even because I'm Mother Teresa, but also because it'll come back to you. Treat
Yeah.
people
No,
normally.
it does come back to
Yeah.
you. Um, I I think it's since well, no, I've always called people out on stuff, but as I've like gotten older, I've gotten more into calling people out. I'm just like, I'm too old for this. Like, I'm calling you out on your BS. Like, this
Yeah.
is dumb.
And it's extremely fair, I think.
Also, I got ghosted recently, like a lot of times. Like, a lot of times in a very short period of time. I called every single one of them out. And like,
As you should. As you should. I really think it's the worst.
yeah. And I wish I knew their moms.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell their moms.
Find them on
I
Facebook.
could be like, by the way, this is what your son does.
But it's also like not just the guys that I think need to be called out. I went on a single Shabbaton in August or September. Okay. I met this girl in some Staten Island Shabbat thing that I went to, and she's like, "Here, let me add you to these groups, these like singles groups, event groups, and professional groups." I was like, "Sure, thanks." So she added me to these groups, and I was looking at it, and I saw this one that was like Shabbaton in the Five Towns, I think Memorial Day weekend, whatever it was, and X amount $100. And I was like, you know what? I'm not dating anyone. Even if this is the worst thing ever, at least I'll have funny stories later, right?
Hmm.
Because at first my friend was going to go, then she was like, no, I'm not going to go. Because my mom said that it's all like old people who are divorced. I'm not going. And I'm like, you know what? F it. Like, I already paid. I'm going to go alone. I'm going to go. It'll be fine. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Okay. That's foreshadowing for the listeners.
What's
That's
the worst?
that's
There's a lot of bad things that
that's
can
literally
happen.
foreshadowing for the listeners. Okay. So I asked the organizers. First of all, I called them. I was like one of the first people to sign up for this. I signed up a month in advance. And I said, "Hey, I'm 27. I want to move to Israel. That's my 5-year plan. Like I really don't I don't envision myself settling in the Five Towns or in Teaneck or wherever. I want my life goal is to make Aliyah. I love Israel. I am mono-orthodox. I, have like a unique background, and I really want to make sure that there's people my age at this event. Okay. She goes, don't worry. I'm sure that your soulmate is at this event. And if you don't go, you're gonna miss your soulmate.
Oh,
I
that's
was like,
BS.
you've convinced me, like, okay. I'm not joking. This is really how she told it to me. Okay. I was like, listen, my friend also bailed. She's like, don't worry, I'll set you up like with normal girls, like you'll be fine. I was like, I don't know how to get there. I don't have a ride. She's like, I will get you a ride. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna go. Okay. And this is like not a cheap event. Like, these are hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And okay. So this guy who's driving from Brooklyn, so nice of him. He offered to drive me, another guy, and another girl. He picks me up. I'm like, do you want some water? Do you want a banana? He's like, just water's fine. I'm like, okay, great. I put my trunk in. I sit in the front. Next, we pick up a guy. The guy's super tall, a little uncomfortable socially, sits in the back. No problem. A little uncomfortable socially, but not weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
Just
a
a little
girl
awkward.
walks in who is medically unwell,
Oh no.
deeply unwell, deeply unwell. Okay. She starts telling us it's an hour drive because with traffic before Shabbat. She starts telling us how she was raped when she was 17 to two men and a woman that she has never met in her life. She starts explaining how she met this guy on Facebook. He invited her to a hotel room. She lay there and was raped. And the police found her tied up after post-rape. Swear to God. I swear to God. Okay, this is what happened. On the drive to a Shabbaton, I was like, you know what? Maybe this girl was just a one-off weirdo girl. She had like,
Yeah.
and then I didn't see her face the whole time she was talking because I was in the front seat. I turned around later. I'm like, oh, this is a weird girl. Okay, this
Yeah.
is someone that's met like real mental illness, like off a little. Okay,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? There's gonna be one person in
Which is
every.
not to negate her trauma or anything. It's just like a little bit off to like dump your
No,
trauma
no,
onto
listen.
strangers.
If I'm bad things happen to people all the time. The world is
Yeah.
a cruel and callous place. Okay,
Yeah, and it's awful.
but to say this to me in a ride to a Shabbat, I've never met this girl in my life.
Yeah, to
I
strangers.
don't know her last name at this point.
Yeah.
Literally. Okay. And she's going into gruesome, graphic detail about this horrible thing that happened to her 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. We're in the car, and I was like, thank you so much for driving. I really appreciate you driving to this guy. Like, it was very nice of you to drive. Thank you. He drops me off at the host. The host is like typical Five Towns, normal, normal, normal. Who are the people who are in my room? There's a convert, super sweet, nicest girl. Like, she's the nicest girl. Next room over, someone who's divorced and another person with mental illness. And again, I am not saying that these people don't deserve to find love, but this
Yeah.
is my first impression of the Shabbaton. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we go into the Shabbaton, like from the host's house, it's a 2-block walk to the shul. I'm not exaggerating when I say, okay, there was me, there were divorced people, people who were really either on the spectrum or had other mental illnesses or whatever was going on with them, who said and did weird and off things. One
Oh
guy followed
God.
me around for 2 days, literally followed
Oh
me.
God.
Very uncomfortable situations. Or people who would walk up to you and go, hi, I'm a convert from Atlanta. I'm a convert from Connecticut. I'm a convert from LA. I'm a convert from wherever.
Like, why do you need to know?
Because they were clearly visibly like not stereotypically Jewish looking. And so they would
Oh.
tell you, they would like announce themselves. And so I'm like, what is this Shabbaton where everyone's 40, divorced, or a convert? And me, no
Oh,
one my
that's most
age.
Shabbatons.
It was like really uncomfortable. Really, and I'm not saying, again, disclaimer for the listeners. If you're divorced, or you're a convert, or you're mentally ill, and I'm not saying that all these three things are the same level. I'm not saying that.
No.
I'm saying like you obviously deserve to find love. You obviously deserve to find love. But there's
Some
something
people don't.
there's something very off about an entire Shabbaton being in the majority of the Shabbaton being minority groups within a
Yeah.
specific community, within a minority community. Okay.
Yeah.
Then the Shabbaton gets super weird where I'm sitting next to a guy who I think is kind of cute, and I'm like, maybe he's for me, whatever. He goes, yeah, this super great Israeli singer, the super great Israeli singer from Eurovision. She was super popular in the year 2000. And I'm like, you mean when I was 3? And he's like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 27. He goes, I'm 40.
Oh.
And I went, oh. I went, oh. And so then I'm like, you know what? There's no one here for me. Let's start doing shots. Now
Oh,
we have the really stark, divorced black hat men doing tequila shots with me.
Oh my God.
And that's the vibe of my table. Okay. Everyone else is like, what is this girl doing? And why is there? Because to them, I look 12. I look 12 and I'm doing shots with these guys that are like divorced black hatters. Okay.
Oh, they probably wanted to take you home
These divorced black hatters
because that's what divorced black hatters do.
on the way back out, they were explaining to me how they call their divorced parents club, divorced dad. They have a divorced dads like club that they do like they grill and barbecue together. They call it the divorced parents club, and they call it the DP club.
Oh my gosh.
They're wearing black hats and they're telling me this.
Oh gosh.
So I was like, this has been a bust. There's no one at the Shabbaton for me, but I already paid for the food. So I'm just going to come back Saturday day for lunch and have the food. Okay. I sit down while they're making the speech. By the way, the speeches were unhinged. The speeches were about how you have to open yourself up. There were like a lot of sexual innuendos in these religious speeches about how you have to like be the woman, the receiver, and receive, and the man has to give, and you have to receive. And I'm like, what is this? Like a sex ed class? Like this is a religious Shabbaton. What is this? It was very off. And there was like the speaker was explaining how like the mezuzahs in your different rooms could be the reason why you're single. She's like the mezuzah in your dining room. I'm like, what if you live in a studio? You don't have a dining room. Like, what are you talking? What the heck are you talking about? She was like explaining to me about how the mezuzahs are the problem and how that's why people are single because they don't take the
Wait, should I get
mezuzahs.
my mezuzahs checked? Half of mine are new.
And then she goes, and I was like, you know what? Okay, I paid for the food. Come back Saturday day. The caterer putting out the food keeps going outside. There was like a front entrance and a back entrance to the shul. The back entrance of the shul is glass doors. Keeps going outside to touch a dog with her hands.
Ew.
Comes back in, puts the food out. She did this like 20 times. I literally poured myself a big glass of wine in my little plastic glass, walked out of the shul, went back to the host's house, knocked on the door and said, hi, could I please join you for lunch? I'm very uncomfortable. I told the host everything that happened. She goes, you need to reach out to the organizer. This is not okay what happened.
You should have gotten your money back.
I messaged the organizer the next day going, hi, I specifically asked you a month before the event if there would be anyone there for me, and you assured me that there was. This was Geneva. You should be embarrassed, and if you had a shred of decency or like a one single decent bone in your body, you would give me my money back. This was not okay. Like, not to mention, like, again, literally every single person there, besides for me, was divorced, mentally unwell, or a convert. And by the way, the converts were the coolest people there. I made great friends. The girls were awesome. It was like really deeply unwell. The person that was like the host's cousin or whatever was staying in the basement because she just like happened to be there and she's also divorced. She's like, listen, I'm divorced. I'm telling you right now, this was not appropriate place for you and she should not have invited you. Like, this is not cool. I'm like, yeah, it was really messed up. And I sent her this whole voice note and she sent me a voice note back, like being like, if you don't change your attitude, you're going to be 40 and single. And like, how dare you? I would never invite you back again. And I was like, I just texted back going, you know what? It's really a shame that you didn't take this as like this feedback in the correct way and instead got defensive and angry. I wish you all the best. And I hope you have the day that you deserve. And I blocked her.
Wow.
And honestly, if anyone listening to this wants to know the specific Shabbaton person that this is, please reach out to me. Please reach out to me because I won't spread bad information about someone and ruin their parnasa. I won't do that. But if you directly ask me, have you been on this Shabbaton and how was it? I will answer because it was me. I went home and cried. I was like, what's wrong with me at 27 that I am lumped in with these people that have nothing in common with me? It literally felt like I was like completely worthless, like I didn't deserve to find love, like they were like bottom of the barrel, go. That's really how it felt. It was horrible.
And like, again, there's nothing
crazy.
There's nothing wrong with these groups of people. It's just it wasn't
disclosed at all.
You specifically told the organizer your situation. You asked if there would be people there that were in similar situations as you, similar age groups, appropriate matches for you.
Correct.
And these people were not appropriate matches for you.
Correct. Exactly.
And she gave you misleading information.
It's like this. Imagine I was a Persian girl, okay? And I come to a Shabbaton and I say, is there going to be anyone else from a similar background to me? And she goes, yes, of course. We're going to have a lot of Persian people there. And then the entire Shabbaton is Ashkenaz.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same thing. Or another thing. I'm a doctor. I want to marry another doctor so that they can really understand my schedule. Are you sure there's going to be other doctors? 100% sure. And then I get there and everyone there works in real estate. Or,
Yeah.
I'm a vegan. I want to marry another vegan. There's going to be other vegans there. And then you get there and there's no vegans. And in fact, everyone there is actually really, really into meat and goes fishing. That's kind of the vibe.
Yeah.
It was just like
It's just not an appropriate group for you, and it should have been communicated.
And by the way, I'm sure there were really like some great people there. I met a few friends, like girls that I'm like friends with now. And like we bonded over how horrible the Shabbaton was. And like, yeah, they're a lot older than me, but like whatever. They were cool. It was just like a really weird and off thing. And again, 20,000th disclaimer. I'm not saying that people who are on the spectrum or like have different mental things going on don't deserve to find love. I'm not saying that people who are divorced shouldn't find love. Again, I'm not saying that converts shouldn't be accepted into the community and being treated as like a regular Jew, which they are. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying how incredibly off it was to show up to an event like this. And like, that's the entire, by the way, zero exaggeration. I know I have like a dramatic affect to my voice. Zero exaggeration. That's literally everyone that was there.
Yeah, and everyone was significantly older than you too.
I was the youngest person there, and I asked around. Every time I saw someone that looked even remotely young, I would ask them how old you are, and they'd be like 39.
Yeah, and
a young 39.
Like, I think that's the real problem with it is like if you had gone and there were some divorced people, some converts, but they were all like
my age
in their 20s,
Yeah,
30s, like that's your dating pool. Like at the end of the day, like I've dated people who are
I also went out
who
with
are
someone who's divorced.
who are divorced. I don't know if I've ever been out with anyone who converted, but I'm not opposed to it. Like
I have no
there's
problems
nothing
with any of these groups.
It's just the problem of like they are not your age group.
Like literally from start to finish, every experience that I had with Shabbaton was
was terrible. And it's even worse because you asked and she lied to you.
She literally lied to me. She lied to me to get my money, which is really
sad. And I have said this multiple times on this podcast. I've said it on other podcasts. I'll say it to anyone who will hear me say it. Shadchans are the problem.
I don't even know if she is. I mean, I guess she
is.
But
these matchmakers are the problem. They're just trying to make $1. They're not actually trying to help people. They mask themselves trying to make money and trying to make themselves busy and have something to do to make them feel good with like for show they're trying to make matches. I don't
think that she also like she was the one running the Shabbaton. She goes, I'm divorced. She like is like an elder woman going, I'm divorced, but I'm gonna help you find love. But I'm divorced, but I plan these Shabbatons. She also told the entire Shabbaton about how she doesn't believe in COVID. And she was like, even during COVID, we never canceled a single Shabbaton. And announced to the whole Shabbaton of like a couple hundred people, or however it felt like 150 people. For those of you who are unvaccinated and it's been hard for you to date, reach out to me. Find me after dinner. I would love to help you find a match. This is not something you should be saying out loud. Even if you want to help those people find love or whatever it is, you should not be announcing this in a shul in the Five Downs.
Also, it's 2024.
It's literally 2024.
I mean, when you guys are listening, it'll be 2025, but like in 2024, like nobody cares. Like COVID has passed. You want to get a booster, that's your decision. Nobody's like asking everyone's vaccination statuses anymore. Like
very weird.
You do what's good for you, and nobody else has to know.
It was extremely off.
It's like not something we talk about anymore.
I was like vaccinated. I'm like from polio. I like didn't even realize what she was asking. I was like, what? I was like, who's not vaccinating from polio?
Like I did get an updated Tdap booster. Like
I was like, Happy, what is this for?
Like what?
Random thing to say. It was just super random, super uncomfortable. Like, yeah, and I feel like these Shabbatons, like, and I've been on like young professional Shabbatons that are fun, like the Chabad ones in Crown Heights, or like I've been to like I don't know, like one in Washington Heights. Like these, some of them are like a little off, or there's always going to be a few people that are a little off.
Yeah,
and it's fine. But the rest of the Shabbaton is usually super fun. But when the entire Shabbaton is off and the caterer is touching a legit dog. Really a dog.
Yeah, and not washing their hands.
Not washing their hands.
It's good that you were staying at like normal people's houses.
Oh,
they like let you join.
I brought them a bottle of wine before, and obviously which by the way should be the responsibility of the Shabbaton organizers, not me.
Yeah, you're paying a lot of money.
I brought a bottle of wine. I said, thank you so much. And I sent them a gift later. I knew their address because I stayed there, and I sent them a gift afterwards and with a note saying, thank you so much for having me for lunch afterwards after I left the Shabbaton being so upset. Thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate it.
That's really nice.
Like, I was like, thank you so, I really, really appreciated your kindness when like I was depressed from the Shabbaton.
Yeah.
Because it's like, when these like shadchans make you feel like there's something legit wrong with you, like and like there's really not. I'm a young person, I'm normal, I have friends, I have a social life, like I have a career, like there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
And they like made me feel like the whole experience made me feel so bad, and it felt like they were just getting one over me, you know? And
yeah.
I hate that. I hate that so much.
Listen, your money is counted for tzedakah.
I was like, listen, let this be a kapara or something else.
Yeah, kapara, tzedakah,
yeah.
like.
But that's really, that's the vibe. And it was not fun.
I've never been on a Shabbaton. I don't really have any interest in it for that reason. Also, I did try to go on a Shabbaton once and I was rejected. It was rude. It was so rude. I was so bad.
Well, if you get the chance, you should go to the young professionals version of Pagisha in Crown Heights. Really fun, super diverse crowd. Really fun.
Maybe.
Listen, if you like, I'm not Chabad. I don't get down with everything that Chabad says.
Also, like, I don't want to marry the Chabad beard freaks me out.
Well, it's just
like I'm not gonna lie.
It's not like, it's just like young professionals from all over.
Oh, okay.
And it's like
maybe
really fun.
This
is
really a good
fun.
idea.
It's really,
we're
really
gonna
fun.
talk more about this offline.
Yeah, it's really fun.
But
I've always had a great time going to those kinds of things.
Yeah, I definitely talked about this on podcasts before, but basically one of my friends lives in a community, and every year, I don't know if they still do it, but every year the community is a lot of young couples, so they would get together and each like have like a couple single friends come and like make this whole Shabbaton for them.
So cute.
And so my friend asked me, she's like, I think the guys are gonna be a little bit too religious for you, but would you want to come? And I was like, yeah, if anything, I could just be at my friend's house for Shabbos. I'll hang with her kids. Like, it's chill.
Yeah.
And then she's like, they rejected you because I wear pants. And I'm like, that is so rude. But whatever.
There was a Shabbaton of all girls hosted by shotguns in like I think Lakewood or something.
Oh god.
And they didn't take me because I wear short sleeves.
But also, why do you want to go on a Shabbaton of all girls?
Because like,
why do you want to go to Lakewood?
My friend was going. She was like, "Do you want to come? It's gonna be so fun. My other friends are gonna be there. Like, you can meet different people." And like, I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm a do it for the plot girly.
Same.
I am a do it for the plot girly. I will go on a date with someone that I didn't think was for me. I will go on a weird trip. I will go on a Shabbaton. I will stay at a weird hostel. I will take the scary flight that you think is being held together by duct tape. Like, I will do that. I will do that. I think it's so fun, and I love the stories for later. Like, this is why I went on that Shabbaton for these stories. Like, that's literally what it is. So like, yeah, I was like, I'll go on this all girls Shabbaton. Maybe it'll be fun.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm doing this for the plot. I don't really care the outcome, but it's like worn me down a little bit.
I think dating wears you down in general.
Yeah.
I think like until my current boyfriend, I never believed in like female intuition for a day in my life. I thought it was complete BS. I like really feel like very strongly that dating, especially in the Jewish world, is a scam. I think that it sucks. I think that it's really hard. And I also think that it's like, I think that there's certain standards set in place that don't exist in the real world. Like in the real world, people of every single shape, size, height, background, whatever, there's a market for that person. Like people are gonna be into you. And I think that unfortunately in some Jewish dating circles, it can feel very much the opposite, that unless you went to a specific shul and a specific seminary and went to a specific college where you were around the same people who then moved to the east or west side or downtown with the downtown minion, whatever it is, like unless you were with the exact same people, like you are not like a valuable prospect in this shit of world or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's just it's a very off thing, but I definitely think that that's something that's real.
Yeah, and like everyone is told that they have to like act a certain way and look a certain way and be a certain way, and I'm just like, okay, like
I I was telling my friend recently, I'm like, every single girl I meet on the West Side or like the East Side or like downtown Minion or the Heights when I'm there for Shabbos or whatever, every single girl that I meet, almost without exception, okay? This is the stereotype. This is my impression. I'm a doctor and a lawyer and a neurosurgeon, and I also do real estate. I speak 8 languages. In my free time, I build huts in Zambia, okay? And I volunteer with the orphans. I've also adopted a few myself. They're in my kitchen. They're the ones making the chont. Okay? Say hello. Hi, Bob. That's my adopted orphan child from Zambia. We're converting her. Okay. That's the vibe. Every single guy that I meet in any one of these communities, yeah, I don't know. I have an Amazon business. I tried to make a reservation once. They were closed. That's it. They don't know anything about anything. Like you try to have a conversation, they're like, and you're like, what? What? And of course, these are generalizations. And there's like not great girls and amazing guys. But sometimes the dating pool feels a little off, where I know a bunch of amazing girls and I try and set them up. Or for example, like there's a guy that my boyfriend knows and I'm trying to set him up with XYZ girls. And I think like these girls are so pretty and like talented and stunning and like they're so accomplished. It's like you have time to go to the gym at 5 a.m. and do your job. I don't get it. And he's like, my boyfriend's like, no, I know that he's not gonna like her. Not her, not her, not her, not her, not her. And I'm like, at that point, you're the
you're the
you might
problem.
be the problem if you're not willing to date and like you know what I mean. If you're only willing to date a specific person that only has one specific, I don't know, nostril shape or whatever is going on
Yeah.
there, that there's something there.
Yeah, I have this conversation with one of my guy friends a lot, and I don't know, he just got out of a relationship where he was dating this girl only because he thought she was pretty. That's the only thing, I guess, personality-wise, they got along, but like that was the only thing she had going for her. No job, no car. I mean, I don't have a car either, but like she couldn't drive. She lived with her parents. She was in her late 20s and had no job. She has never worked a full-time job in her entire life.
It's kind of wild.
And she's also just like weird. Like I told him, I'm like, I see her around. She's weird.
I see her around.
Like
She's weird.
she hangs out with the weirdos. Like not even weird in like a fun, quirky way, because I think we're all kind of weird a little bit, like in a fun way. But no, I'm like, she's like sketchy. Like you see her and her group of friends, and like you want to stay away.
Right.
And he dated her for months because he thought she was pretty. And I was like, there's literally nothing else. Like, can you just tell me one other thing you like about her? And he couldn't. Finally, she didn't treat him well either. So finally, like, enough of what she was doing got back to him, and he was like, okay, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. But then he comes to me and he's like, what about this girl who I met? He like came here for Shabbos like a few months ago, and he met like one of my friends who is not religious in the slightest,
Right.
which is fine. But I'm like, okay, you're doing this again.
Right.
She's a specific look that you like,
right.
but you're not looking past that.
Right.
Like you need more.
Right.
Also, people looks change.
Yeah. I think that looks are important because you should want to have sex with the person you're marrying.
Yeah.
You should want to be intimate with them. And I think that some baseline of attraction is important.
Yeah.
However, if you are only attracted, and I'm not saying that you don't have a right to be attracted to whatever you're into. Like, I'm not saying that. But I think that sometimes people pigeonhole themselves where they're like,
Yeah.
I only want to date someone that has bright red hair and a specific silver streak on the left side and like is 4'11" and works in iguana maintenance. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no one like calm down.
Yeah. And it's I just think a lot of these, I find it mostly with guys. I feel like girls, like they might have a specific thing that they're into, but I do find that girls are a lot more open-minded.
Yeah. No,
Like
it's true. It's really true.
like I don't know. If someone were to come to me with a match and he's not everything I'm looking for, but he matches a lot of it, and like there might be a few things that like aren't exactly what I want, but like he seems fine, I'll probably still give it a chance.
Yeah.
Whereas like
yeah.
a guy will not say yes unless a girl meets every single like criteria, but it's like dumb criteria.
I also like, yeah, I mean, I definitely have girls that do the same thing in my life. Like, there's a friend of mine that I'm thinking of. There was a guy at shul, like, kind of hitting on her, like, telling everyone how much he thinks she's so pretty, whatever. This was on some Katora. And, like, she was just like, I don't know. He seems too, like, outgoing to, and, like, in her defense, they're not a good match. Like, I don't think that
Yeah.
their vibes are the same. He gives, like, a little immature, I think, sometimes, and, like, he's very, like, like, look at me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's super not like that. And he was like, he's not just playful. The word is goofy. That's what it is. Like, he's
Yeah.
like giving goofy. But I think, like, and she's telling me that, I'm like, but you don't know his whole personality. You don't know what he's like all the time. You're seeing like a tiny snippet of him in this one instance. And if someone else recommended him, like, I think you should go for it. You know what I mean? Like, if he matches you in every other way, except for this like one thing that he's being goofy and shul at this one specific time when everyone is drunk, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, maybe give it a different, maybe see him in a different circumstance. Maybe see him in a different environment with different people. Like, people are not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've been to some like really weird Shabbat meals where the dynamics are just off. Like, off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, also another thing is like, why can't girls and guys just talk normally? Like, why do we need facilitators? Like, at Shabbatons, like, why do we need like activities?
So I agree with the activity thing
Okay. Okay, tell me
because
why.
no, like I've been to these like
Wait,
okay.
you agree with me or you disagree with
No,
me?
I disagree with you.
Okay, okay.
Because I've been to these events where it's just like there's nothing really going on. It's just a bunch of guys and girls in a room and everyone is just like meant to mingle. And I don't think you actually get to know people because first of all, everyone goes with friends.
Right,
So like you're just like talking to your friends. You're not approachable.
right,
Um, and I'm not just saying like you, like everyone is like that.
right,
Everyone's with
right.
their little group. Nobody's approachable. And it's just I don't know. I've always felt uncomfortable in those types of situations. Like, and I'm already like social and outgoing and like I will talk to people, but it's hard to like break in at those types of things. And like also I've gotten to a point where now why do I need to go and pay money and go out on a weeknight and go to who knows where, do my hair and makeup, wear a cute dress to do the same thing that I'm gonna go do at Kiddush for free on Shabbos
Facts.
with the same people.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
I think like it's good when there's like some sort of activity or facilitating conversation or you break people up into like smaller groups. It's bad if they're weirdos, but like if it's normal people, then I think it's better because then you actually get to know people.
I don't mind if they do seating like girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. I think that's fine. Or rather, man, woman, man, woman, man, woman, because we're all of age. But I think like, why are we doing a crossword puzzle at a barbecue?
No, that's weird.
You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing?
No, it has to be like some sort of like fun activity
Right.
that like
I'm cool with a fun activity.
that's
Like, I
gonna
think
get
it's
people
fine.
talking.
I'm fine with something to break the ice.
Or like a speed dating thing, or like I
I
don't
hate speed
know.
dating. I think it's so stupid. I hate speed dating.
I've never done speed dating in person. I've only done like virtual speed dating.
On the virtual ones, I literally think it's their moms that sign them up sometimes. And the guys don't know and don't show up.
Really?
Yeah. I really have this like sneaking suspicion that it's these guys that their moms pressure them into doing it.
Yeah, I sometimes don't I mean, I don't do it very often anymore, but yeah, like the people who are no show, it's like what was the point
What
of
was the
that?
point of signing? That's what I'm telling you. I think that their mom signed them up.
Also, like these things are like so casual.
Right.
So it's
Like,
like
you can't do a
you
5 minute
could
Zoom.
literally sign up the day of.
Right.
Like you can't sit there for 7 minutes. The whole thing is an hour. Like you can't sit there for 7 minutes talking to someone and like yeah. So
I
I
went
think it's dumb.
I once dated a guy who dumped me. This was during COVID. He was British. We had both booked flights to meet, I don't remember, Israel or Mexico, whatever it was, like the one, like a country that would accept people. Like, he couldn't, like, with the flight restrictions or whatever it was coming out of our both countries. This was like 4 years ago at this point. I really don't remember. And after the flights were already booked and everything, he dumped me on Valentine's Day.
The heck?
And the reason why was not because he was a vegan and I was not a vegan. No. it was about, he said, that he was like ending this situation. By the way, this was like we were really seriously shit up dating. My mother had spoken to his yeshiva rabbi. Like I had like spoken to his parents, his sister, like he had sent me gifts. Like it was like very serious. And we were doing this during COVID. He broke it off and told me it's because of your opinions on Palestinians and the global warming.
What?
I said, we've literally never spoken about Palestinians or global warming. And he was like, no, I've fallen in love with you, but it simply cannot go on because we're too different politically. I'm like, we've never spoken about these issues.
That's so weird.
It's so off.
Was your flight refundable?
I got it switched to flight credits and I used it to go on a different trip.
Okay, good.
Is that crazy? Is
But
that
that's so weird.
I'm telling you, I have like the worst track record with guys. I had a guy once come up to me at a kiddish in this area. I had a guy come up to me. We're at the drinks table, and he's sitting next to me, like I'm here and he's here. And he goes, and this is a real story I'm telling you. Okay. He goes, so Fanya, like, do you know if it's gonna rain later? And I'm like, pouring myself whatever drink. I'm like, what? He goes, do you know if it's gonna rain later? I'm like, I don't I don't know if it's gonna rain later. He's like, oh, I thought you could predict the weather because you have big boobs.
What the heck?
Turns around, walks away, doesn't even wait for a response from me. I was like, wait a second. He wasn't even trying to hit on me because if he was, he would have waited for a response. I think he was sexually harassing me. I think I was literally harassed at a kiddish.
Wait, that's so weird. Are you friends with him?
No,
Like,
we're not friends.
but he knows you?
Yeah.
That's so freaking weird.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what was the point of that?
Dude.
Tell his mom.
Is that not so unwell?
Honestly, like, I think we need to start calling people's moms.
It was crazy. It was crazy. It was so crazy. No, really, no, it was really crazy.
No, that's what'd you do?
I was once driving to New Jersey to a barbecue, a shidduch young professional barbecue thing that someone was also driving me to and from. And on the way back, he gave some other guy a ride also. And the other guy goes, so Fanya. This other guy is like some like mix of Sephardi, and like he spoke with that Brooklyn affect. And I'm allowed to say that because I literally grew up in Brooklyn and went to a majority Syrian school. Okay. He spoke with a very specific affect to his voice. And he goes, so Fanya, like, so are you Russian? Is Fanya Russian? And I'm like, no, actually, I'm Jewish. He's like, what? What? And I'm like, just so you know, like Russian actually literally in Russian it's an ethnicity. It means not Jewish. In Russian, I wouldn't say Yaruska, I would say Yaruska Говорящая or Yaruska Язычная because Yaruskaya literally means I'm ethnically Russian, I'm a non-Jew. That's literally what it means. So all the times people will say I'm Russian speaking or I'm from a Russian background or I'm post-Soviet or whatever.
Oh,
for ease and comfort, if it's a 3-second conversation, I'll be like, yeah, I'm Russian. Because none of my family has ever lived in Russia. We speak Russian because of the Soviet Union. I'm the same kind of Ashkenaz as you. My parents just got here a little later. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to start having a whole discussion with you about, Soviet anti-Zionism. Like, we're not doing this if I just don't know you. But he was so against hearing what I had to say for even 3 seconds. He was like, ugh, a woman speaking? Disgusting.
He said that?
No, he was like he was disgusted that I like dared to I was like, he goes, I just asked you a simple question. I'm like, and I like what at first I was like, I was just trying to explain to you. He was like, yeah, I can see that you like want people to like know your opinions. I was like, first of all, I thought that you were smart enough to handle hearing some new information. I'm sorry that you weren't, and that's okay. I'm not gonna continue this anymore, but that's fine. The guy driving was like uncomfortable, obviously, but the guy driving, by the way, had been very nice to me before and like driving there and back, he's not someone that I would be friends with, but he was very nice to me. He didn't do anything or say anything that like he was very polite. But on the way, before the other guy even got in the car, he goes, by the way, this guy, you're probably not gonna like him. I'm like, what? Why? Like, what do you mean? He's like, he really doesn't get along with a lot of women.
Yeah, I can see why.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're telling this, if you're acting like that, like just from a random young professional's like
She's
singles event, Sparty. But by the way, that doesn't mean anything. I know a lot of Sephardi people that are awesome, like Sephardi guys,
No,
Sephardi
no,
girls.
100%. One
But
of
he
my
like,
ex-boyfriends is Sephardi. He
but
was
he like he
amazing.
kept talking about how he's like involved in the Syrian, and I think he's half Syrian, talking about how he's in the specific community, how he hosts these specific events. And like, and I emailed the organizers afterwards, and I said he spoke to me in disrespectful. Oh, by the way, in the car, he's Farty himself. This was during the 9 days.
Yeah.
I think they did assume for like this was during the 9 days. They did assume for the barbecue. He starts talking badly about Bukharians,
Oh.
really badly. He starts speaking really badly about an entire group of Jews
Oh, I talk
during the
badly about Bukharians.
during the 9 days.
I talk badly about Bukharian men.
You can say that you've had negative experiences with a particular group,
Yeah.
which I've dated Bukharian guys, like I get it. But like I also have Bukharian men who are my neighbors, my parents' friends, like not no, there's no group on earth that's a monolith. Stereotypes are
Yeah.
stereotypes that exist for a reason, and I get it, but I'm not gonna judge a person based on whatever group they are. And so like hearing this guy like talk so negatively, we literally 20 minutes before we got into the car, the Dvar Torah was about how as Jews, we should be united, especially after October 7th. Like what's happened is really horrible. We're during the 9 days. Like this is a time for unity.
Yeah.
And he gets in the car. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know me. I get that I don't look Bukharian, but you don't know. I could be half, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, and he just goes on a rant talking badly about an entire. He's not with friends. He's with a girl that he just met. And then when he goes, "Oh, are you Russian?" And I'm like, "No, I'm Jewish. Like, I'm not Russian." He's like, like he was like viscerally disgusted by the fact that a woman was speaking with him. And like, listen, this guy didn't go to school. This guy's like, Nebuch, this guy, okay? I feel bad for him that he's like really so uneducated and he doesn't read and he's like never seen a book and like doesn't know how to speak to women. And like he's much older than me and single. Like I get he has problems,
Well, we know why he's single.
but like to have other people, your reputation be that women don't like you,
Yeah, that's bad.
it's like, I wonder why, babes. I wonder why.
Yeah.
And yeah, it made me really upset to like, I've never had anyone, I was like, it was a 3 second explanation. Like it was literally 3 seconds. I could have been like, yeah, actually, like I'm not Russian. Like my family's from the Soviet Union, but I'm just Ashkenaz. I'm Russian speaking, but sure. It's not like I'm not like a different ethnicity than other Ashkenaz Jews. My
Yeah.
DNA is the same thing.
Yeah.
That's it. And he was like, just didn't want to hear anything. He was like, what do you mean? Like when I say I'm Syrian, I'm like, Syria was a made up country by the Europeans that came and colonized it. You're a Jew and your family are Jews that lived in the Middle East and North Africa.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call you an Arab, and if I did, you would be offended because that's an ethnicity. He's like, but Russia's a country. I'm like, and an ethnicity, because Russia is older than fake Syria, which literally these borders don't exist. They're not real. Freaking duh. Anyone who has read I was like, do you know anything about Damascus? Do you know anything about your own like history? The Aleppo Codex? Like you said that you're part Egyptian. You know about the Geniza in Cairo? Read a book before you come for me. Like I'm extremely well versed in Jewish history. Read a book, please.
Yeah.
Please. Like it's just embarrassing. Like
or just listen to what you have to say.
If I don't know something about something and someone from that group starts to express actually how they would like to be direct, like addressed as, or something new about their experience, I'm not going to be like, you're wrong. You're wrong because I heard it from someone. You're wrong. It's like, calm down. Are you, ma'am, are you well? This is a Wendy's. Relax. That's literally how it felt. And I, by the way, like, yeah, I've had experiences with weird girls, like that girl who like, whatever, like started talking about her trauma when she was 17 in the car. But by and large, these experiences have been crazy guys just yelling at me.
Yeah. They hate women.
Sometimes it really feels like that. Sometimes
like
it feels
I think there are some guys who just hate women. And it's crazy. Okay, so right now, you guys are going to be listening to this way later, but I don't know. Have you seen the TikTok trend, women in male fields?
No.
Okay, so all these women are posting like quote, like things that guys have said to them.
Yeah.
Said and done to them. But posting it in the female perspective. And then they hashtag it like women in male fields. I'm trying to think of a good example. It was like a girl was like, "Oh yeah, I spent all my time with him for months, told him like like gave him all my
Oh, yeah.
attention and
Yeah.
everything. And then when he asked, "What are we?" I said, "I'm not ready for a relationship,
absolutely.
but you deserve better." Or I was crying crying my eyes out to him, or no, he was crying his eyes out to me, expressing how he felt, and I just looked at him and said, "Why are you dating me then?" Like, but some of these are so unhinged, and it's like, well, and I get it. There are women who do not treat men well either.
Right.
There are just bad people in the world, but like, I just don't understand why like, it's such a universal experience. And like, it's not just like, oh, a guy saying he's not interested in you. Fine. That's like a normal thing.
Yeah.
But it's like the leading people on and lying. And I don't know. I just think these men hate women.
I've also like I dated some great guys. I dated some really not great guys. I dated some guys that I thought were great that turned out to be not great, and vice versa. I don't know. There's definitely women in my life that like talk about how much they don't like men.
Yeah.
And I don't hear guys saying that as much.
But they act on it.
I feel like they might like, for example, my grandma will say things when I'm like, oh, I like this guy or whatever. She'll be like, does he have a big nose? Because she has like internalized anti-Semitism. I really do think that, even though she has a schnoz and and her daughter has a schnoz, she keeps saying things like, oh, like, does he have a big nose? Because she like has this idea of like that's a very unattractive thing. Okay. In the same way that she has like internalized anti-Semitic beliefs about people with large noses, I think that some guys have these like beliefs about women. Like, I really do think they have like internalized, I don't know if it's misogyny or misandry or whatever it is, like they have these ideas about like, I only tolerate her because sex, or I only tolerate her because to make my family happy, or I only tolerate her because whatever, we've been together for so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a trend on TikTok about how much people hate their boyfriends. Sorry, they hate how much guys hate their girlfriends.
Really?
There is a trend on TikTok about how much guys hate their girlfriends.
I haven't seen this one.
Fellas, at what point in the relationship do you get to I hate my girlfriend? Like what month? What, and everyone commenting being like, oh, I hate my girl. Like, people don't like their significant other.
Just like break up.
Yeah. I don't get it.
I don't know. You shouldn't be with someone you don't like.
I've always approached it as like I'm dating because like, yeah, I've dated more casually or less casually. I've dated shidduch wise and like on Hinge or whatever. But I've always thought of it as like, oh, I'm dating someone. I'm not wasting my time. Like, I'm dating someone like that. The TikTok sound. I want my name dropped, meaning I want to be married. I want my eggs cracked, meaning I want a child. That's how I approach dating and how I always have approached dating. Like, I really think that some guys maybe need to be looking at dating as like, am I finding my other half?
Yeah.
People always say like, oh, women wait for the right person and men wait for the right time.
Yeah. We've talked about this in the podcast.
And I really think it's true because I think that like guys don't always necessarily care who it is necessarily.
Yeah,
It's just,
they
like,
just decide they're ready to be married.
Yeah. And I'm like, yikes. I would really hope that I'm with like I want to be with someone that like really wants me and wants me for me and wants to be with me and not like well, look at the time. I'm 30 and it's time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is why I don't trust men. And this is why people like ask me, and I'm like, I don't care who I marry and how much money he has. I'm keeping my career, I'm keeping my own money. I don't trust men because,
I've heard some crazy stories.
yeah.
Then again, like, do I hear crazy things about women?
Yeah.
100%. Yes, I do. I do. But like, I'm speaking from the woman's perspective. So I'm sorry that I'm not a guy on a dude's podcast going, oh, these chicks, am I right? You know what I mean? Like, I can't be that person. I can only speak about my experience.
I do have guys on this podcast and like they talk about their experiences. There are some crazy women.
Yeah.
Like, we're not denying that. It's just what we're seeing and our perspective is crazy guys.
Okay. Have I seen crazy women? Yes. Or even this. I know some very nice girls who just like make bad choices sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is also fair. I think that's also fine. Like, to acknowledge.
But I do think sometimes
this girl texted in the group, oh my gosh, can you believe that this man made no effort? I'm like, you ghosted him. He made effort. He put a text and was like, oh, I'm doing this thing for my job. and you didn't respond. Like
Yeah.
maybe he didn't ask you a question, but he probably has a different like communication style than you. Like you could have like responded to him, and you just didn't answer him.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, sometimes I question like when guys will tell stories about girls. It's not that I don't believe the stories. I do believe them, but sometimes I'm wondering like what did you do to her to make her act like that?
To further this point about guys versus girls and dating,
Hmm.
after October 7th, a lot of guys, a lot, reached out to girls being like, hey, I know it's a hard time right now. If there's anything I can do to help you with this really difficult time emotionally, you let me know. And it's like, how many guys use October 7th to slide in people's DMs? Versus how many girls did the same thing? 1,000 plus people died and are dying.
Yeah.
And you're using October 7th to hit on women? I
Yeah.
like talked this on my story. My friend screenshotted it, and the next guy that did that to her, she just sent him that screenshot. He goes, "You right, my bad." No, they're not unwell. These
I'm
people
kind
are
of
unwell.
offended that I didn't get a DM slide on
About
October
October
7th.
7th,
Yeah.
I got three.
Like I'm
Three
kind of
different people.
upset.
Hey, it's been a long time. I hope you're doing well. After everything that's happened, I just thought to myself, I don't want to leave things on bad terms. Do you want to grab a coffee? It's gonna be a really hard time emotionally. I'm like, what? What? You want to do what? You want to grab a coffee to talk about October 7th? I'm really confused what's going on here. No, but that's so real. Hey, if any fellas listen to this podcast, please let us know if a girl hit you up in your DMs and asked you to like vibe about October 7th. I'm gonna predict that the answer is zero. I'm gonna take a wild guess, just a wild, just like a throw in the dark, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that it's a grand total of zero people. Isn't that not crazy?
Yeah, it's like happy birthdaying your way back into her life or
Hey, I
um
heard that your grandma has cancer.
yeah, it's like,
I would
oh,
love to discuss that with you.
like our nation went underwent a huge terrorist attack and people are dying every day. But
Do you want to grab coffee to
yeah.
talk about it? Yeah,
Oh my God. Okay, wait, before we continue this conversation,
yeah.
let's just take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors. So we will be right back. Sticky Situations is sponsored by Corona Crush. Are you tired of swiping on dating apps? Tired of guessing whether the cute guy or girl you keep seeing around is Jewish and or single? Then you need to run, not walk to join Corona Crush. Corona Crush is a Jewish organization working to create Jewish couples always. Corona Crush has over 30 confirmed engagements, over 22,000 members from all over the world, and has set up over 50,000 speed dates. Join the Corona Crush Facebook group and post yourself or have a friend post you and see who reaches out. Fill out the survey to sign up for virtual speed dating events happening every other week. Corona Crush is 100% free and 100% Jewish. Worst case, you end up with some stories of your own. Best case, you find the love of your life. Try it out today. Here on Sticky Situations, we tend to focus on bad dating stories, but sometimes dates do go well and lead to proposals and weddings. Who would have thought? And what do all of those require, you might be asking? Well, the answer is flowers. Who doesn't want flowers from someone they've been seeing? Don't forget, flower petals and bouquets needed for proposals. And that's even before all the flowers that go into weddings. Sticky Situations is sponsored by Primrose Flower Shop. In my opinion, Primrose is the coolest flower shop around and has the best customer service to fulfill all of your floral needs. Primrose offers a range of services from your basic bouquets to subscription services where you can get flowers delivered once a week. They deliver all over the tri state area, including Manhattan. Primrose does weddings, bar and bat mitzvahs, and other simchas. I've personally been to a wedding where Primrose did the flowers, and the work they did was beyond gorgeous. Primrose additionally offers in store proposals, including a romantic setup with candles and music. Primrose is located at 2922 Avenue M in Brooklyn, and the phone number is 929 376-9815. You can also follow Primrose on Instagram at PrimroseNY. So, if you can't get someone out of your head, buy them some flowers from Primrose. They'll either love it or they'll find you really creepy. But regardless, the flowers will be out of this world. Okay, we're back, everybody. Okay, Fanya, do you want to tell another story?
I really have so many, and it's kind of crazy. I think like also a lot of our dating style comes from early experiences with dating. So I went to a majority Sephardi school, specifically a majority Syrian school. The guys there didn't pay attention to me. I was 5'6" in the sixth grade. I was 11 years old and I was 5'6". Okay. I had super blonde hair. It was much straighter than it is now and much lighter. Super blonde hair. My name is Fanya. I'm from a different community than they are. And I was a head taller than everyone else. Okay. Okay. And in elementary school and middle school, that was rough. In high school, like the beginning was a little but towards the end it was fine. I had a lot of friends. I gave a big speech at our like senior seminar, like senior Shabbaton, I guess. Got a standing ovation from like 170 people. I'm really fine. Like I promise you, like being bullied as a child makes you funny. Okay. But like in terms of beauty standards, like everyone I knew was 5'3", brown, dark hair, brown eyes, all had the same name. Because Sephardim named their kids after people that are still alive, all related to each other, going to the same birthdays, brit milas, and like weddings and bar mitzvahs. And I obviously wasn't invited because I wasn't part of their community. I didn't know that Ashkenazim were the majority until I was like 14. I had no clue. No clue. I thought that I was like weird. I literally thought that there was something wrong with me. And obviously in high school, the guys paid no attention to me. Like, and then I started doing extracurriculars, which meant yeshiva league stuff, which meant Ashkenaz schools. And suddenly, all these boys from all these schools really liked me. Really, really, really liked me. A lot. A lot, actually. Because it turns out I was really cute in their world and to their standards. Okay. And like finally these Ashkenaz boys were like paying attention to me, and they were really, really good looking. And I was like, and then so when I was like 16, this guy, like, he broke up with his girlfriend and he like started talking to me. I think we hugged once. He led me on for like a year.
Oh gosh.
She's just a friend of mine. She's just a friend of mine. Turns out they were doing things the whole time. And then he like went back to this ex-girlfriend who he said that he was just friends with. He married her. They're married now. Okay. That was like my first like real, like, that was like really traumatic. I was like 16, 17, 8, not even 18 yet. 18, 19, there was another guy the summer of my freshman year. It took me a year to get over that first guy because that really hurt me. Like that was really intense.
Yeah.
What do you mean you led me on for a whole year?
Yeah.
And the second guy, like I told him, like, hey, just so you know, the last guy that I was interested in, he left me for his ex-girlfriend who he told me he was just friends with. So I'm warning you now that this is a problem and I don't want to have it repeat. He goes, I would never do that. That's not going to happen. 3 months later, I'm still in love with my ex-girlfriend. I don't know what to do. I like you also, but I still really like her. I'm like, I gotta go. So that was over super quick. And then there was like, and then it just, I think like that made it hard for me to trust guys. And I think that from then my whole college experience was like, oh, then there was the thing with the guy in Israel. I did an internship in Israel. We were living in the old city. He like really used me to get over his dead brother. His brother died during the program. He flew back for the funeral, flew back there. He really used me to get over his dead brother. I'm not joking. To the point that like after the summer was over, I'm like, I really can't do this anymore. Like, you don't want to commit to being in a relationship with me. And like, this is really messing with my emotional well-being and my self-esteem. And a year later, when I like turned 21, he reached out and was like, oh, that's not true. Something happened with his sister.
Oh no.
Something happened with his sister. I don't know what it was, but I was like, hey, I heard what happened with your sister from whoever was on our program. I'm really, really sorry to hear about that. Left it at that. Didn't want anything to do with him. He's like, I would love to talk if we have the chance. And he like apologized to me. He was like, I'm really sorry, basically, for using you to get over my dead brother. Okay. Wow. And then like another like year goes by, and like I dated this guy briefly who like grew up Chabad, but he was like super modern and wasn't like that. And he like wanted to do things physically that I did not want to do, that I was not comfortable with. made me very uncomfortable. And I was like, peace out, bro. You're not it. And then did another guy who like I thought was like really into me, and like turns out that he just like was not comfortable dating someone Ashkenaz, apparently. And like I didn't know that at the time. Then I wrote an article. I wrote an article for the Times of Israel.
Well,
And I had a friend who posted it on her WhatsApp story. First of all, at that time, I didn't know that WhatsApp had stories because I'm not a Hasidic Jew. Okay? Some guy in Israel that she knows clicked on the link and goes and told her, oh my gosh, like this is an amazing article. I would love to talk about this with you. Like I really liked it. She goes, why don't you talk about it with her? He goes, who's her? She goes, the girl that wrote the article. He goes, oh, you know her? She goes, yeah, that's my friend that wrote that. He goes, I would love to be connected with her. I would love to talk about it. He reached out to me. This was now in my Shomer Negia phase. Okay. He's in Israel. He was in the army. He was doing like airplane, whatever. I was here. He spends the next like 6 months explaining to me how he wants to marry me. He thinks I'm his wife. He's coming in during his month off from the army. As a lone soldier, you get a month off. He's coming here. He wants to like meet up with me. Like he's like so confident that I'm the right person for him.
well,
Okay. He was supposed to be my plus one to a wedding. He completely blows me off, doesn't want to meet up with me. He was 30 minutes from my parents' house, refused to meet up with me, refused, point blank refused,
why?
refused. I know things now about myself that I didn't know, whatever, some nonsense. And that I think was like the hardest breakup, for lack of a better term. He wanted to tell me that he loved me when he hadn't met me.
Love bomber.
He was like, I want to tell you. I'm like, you shouldn't tell me that. You've never met me. We might not like
Yeah.
each other in person.
Yeah.
He's married now. He's bald. Mazel tov. Like, I hope you're doing well, bro. You know who you are. I really, genuinely, I don't have any ill feelings anymore towards him. But that like
No, that's awful.
that really impacted me so much because I was like, what did I do to deserve this? I was so happy in my life.
Yes.
You reached out to me over a great accomplishment and something that I did
Yeah.
to mess it up, basically.
Yeah.
And then I didn't date for a while. Then COVID happened. Then I dated a guy, the British guy, who dumped me on Valentine's Day and told me it was about Palestinians and global warming. Then I didn't date for a bit after that. Then I had a guy friend set me up with his friend. And this guy was like really a great guy. I think he's married now too. Great guy. He took me on an amazing date. He brought me a bowl from Target. We went and got sushi. We sat by the water. He drove all the way like from near Muncie down to Brooklyn. He was a great guy. I told him like a week later, like after that, I'm like, I feel like you're just not being like emotionally available. Like I'm trying to talk to you, and like you're like distant from me when I'm just trying to have like a quick conversation with you. And like that really triggered him. And he was like, I can't date you because you called me emotionally unavailable. I'm like, I meant in this conversation, like, okay. And I like really, really liked him in that date. And I thought we were so compatible that like 2 weeks later, I like reached out and I was like, hey, I know that you said you don't want to date me, but like I'm really interested in you still. And I would regret it if I didn't reach out and say something. Like, I would really like to go on another date with you.
What did you say?
And he goes, no, I'm not interested, whatever. And I was like, okay.
What the heck?
I was like,
what's
whatever.
wrong with these
You
guys?
know, and hey, like, we were not meant for each other. He's married to someone
Yeah.
else. Like, it's completely fine. Like, he's allowed to like make that decision. But I was like, it was crazy because I was like really like, I felt like we were like in tune. Like our values were the same, our vibe was the same. Also, this was still while I was like really showing like, yeah, very stark, like that vibe. And then after that, I had like a falling out with a guy friend that really affected me. He got married and I stopped dating for a while. Like I really stopped dating like for 2, 3 years. Like I just like needed a break. I really needed a break. And like during that time, my mom tried to like set me up with a guy that was like the son of her friend. I'm like, does your friend know that I'm Shomer? Because her son's secular. And I don't think this is gonna be a vibe. We went out to a bar and I was like, he okay. And we got chicken later from like Holy Schnitzel or whatever. And he drove me home. And I was like, what a waste of time. I was like, whatever. It was just very random. And I like didn't date anyone after that for like 2 or 3 years. I was like really maybe 2, 2 years. 2 years. And then like I don't know, it was just like really hard for me to get back into it. And I think that when you've been burned so many times, it's like hard to trust people again.
Yeah.
I feel like very confident and comfortable in my new relationship, but I also like I'm like very hesitant to tell people about it or like to go into it with anyone because I'm like nervous about Ainhara because people really struggle in dating and I've been there like where I'm like damn like I'm not jealous of her and I don't want what I don't know like I don't wish anything bad about her on her but like I kind of wish that I had what she had. I wish that I was in that
Yeah.
relationship. And I was like, I don't want that on me. I don't like Ainhara, like hamsa, knock on wood. I don't want that. So I like didn't tell anyone that I was dating him for like a long time. And that's I feel like we're so scarred from these dating experiences. And like I get that guys have had hard dating experiences too. I'm not trying to invalidate that.
Yeah.
Show me a guy that's had this string of bad luck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the
That's what I'm talking about.
trauma.
That's what I'm talking about. It's
Yeah.
not that guys like don't have messy breakups or girls that are liars or it just usually it's like, oh, that girl, she was crazy. It's not every single girlfriend I've ever had has been insane. By the way, some of these guys were really nice. It just didn't work out in a traumatic way.
Yeah.
Like I really like I wish them the best. Like I don't have anything against them. I don't have like bitterness in my heart. I'm not like going around going, woe to you, woe unto you. Like that's not the vibe.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely guys that I've dated that I do not wish well.
Mm.
Um, but like I'm that type of person. I was having a conversation with somebody about this yesterday. And as you guys know, because I say it a lot on the podcast, I don't believe in the benefit of the doubt anymore.
Ooh.
Um,
Okay.
I
In what context?
mostly in a dating type of context.
Okay.
Um, I am iffy sometimes with it depends on the friend
Okay.
or people. Like if it's a stranger, I have no benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
Like if it's one of my friends, like sometimes I'll give the benefit of the doubt. It's like, oh, okay, she probably just has something going on, is
Yeah.
busy. It's mostly in like a communication type of context.
Okay.
I guess like if a guy's not communicating with me, I don't automatically just assume
Oh, he's busy.
that he's busy or he has something going on because at the end of the day, like it takes 10 seconds to send a text message.
Facts.
And it's like, so I had this it's not that traumatic because I didn't have that much invested in it. So like I'm not really traumatized from it. It's just more of like an annoyance in my life. So I matched with this guy on a dating app in the summer. We're recording in November. You guys will probably listen who knows when. These episodes come out at a delay. But also, yeah, like I said in other episodes, like I record when I can. January and February are really busy at work, so I try to front load the recordings. But yeah, so in the summer, so August, I think, this I matched with this guy on a dating app. He was he must have like put his thing to worldwide or something or changed his location because he was actually located in California and he wasn't religious. We talked. The conversation was okay. Like it wasn't like I'm a good conversationalist. So like
Right.
most conversations with me are fun because I'm like if somebody gives me the smallest amount of banter, I can work with it.
Right.
So like it's not that even he was that good at banter. It was just like okay, and I was bored.
Right.
So fine. So we talked for like maybe a week. And we never had a phone call, never had anything. This is all like over text. And then out of nowhere one day he's like, I just don't think I can do something long distance. I don't really see myself leaving California ever. Like all of this and that. And I was like, cool, bye. Like I don't know what you want me to say. He's like, would you ever move to California? I was like, if I had a ring on my finger, like I'm
Yeah, what do you mean?
like, what do you mean? Like you want me to move to LA to date you? Like,
Yeah, what are you
like,
talking about?
like, sorry, babe. Like, I have a good job here. I have all my friends here. You're not religious. Like, I'm not uprooting my entire life
Right.
to date someone who I've only texted with.
Yeah, that's insane.
I'm like, I'm like, if we're engaged, I'll move. Like I will move when I have a ring on my finger.
Facts.
Like, and that goes for anywhere. Like, I'm very open to leaving New York. I want to leave New York, but I'm not just about to like, right now, my life is in New York. Like, I'm not like trying to uproot my life to like just date. Like, if I wanted to do that, I would go to Tel Aviv.
Facts.
Like, that is the only place I would uproot my single life right now to go to.
Right.
Because there's no other community, I think, in the world, in America especially, that has like the Jewish dating scene and the not even dating scene, but social scene.
Right.
Like, I live in a community with young professionals. All my friends live in like a 10-block radius. Like, I'm happy here. This is where my social life is. I'm not moving somewhere else unless I have a ring on my finger.
Facts.
So, okay, fine. Also, like, I was not serious. I was like, I'm bored. I'm talking to you because I'm bored.
Here's the thing, sometimes like during dating, like just like dating app conversations or conversations IRL, you think to yourself like, am I having a fun time or am I fun?
Yeah, it's mostly that I'm fun.
Is this a great conversation or am I a great conversationalist?
Yeah.
If I shut up now, is the rest of the date going to be super fun, or are we going to sit in silence for the next 2 hours and sip our
Yeah,
drinks?
exactly. And that's usually about me. But anyway, okay, so this happens. This was like a week of my life. Time passes. He didn't want to talk anymore. I was like, okay, bye. Like, it's fine. I don't care. I moved on. Probably talked to other guys. Who knows? Whatever I do in my life, I did in my life. Like, it was the end of the summer. There was like game. Like, I did not give this boy a second thought.
Yeah.
Like,
what happened?
It was over. It ended. No more thought. Rachel has completely moved on from her life.
Yeah.
Beginning of November, it happened to have been a weird day.
Okay.
Like, it was a weird, weird day.
What made it weird?
So my birthday is November 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
I turned 31, which 30 for me was fun. I liked 30. I felt like I vibed with 30. I had a really good, I mean, like, listen, we all have our ups and downs of life, but I think overall I would give 30 the whole year a pretty good rating.
Okay.
Like, I had a lot of fun with my friends. Dating wise, it was not good, but like, I had a good year for 30.
Right.
The second I turned 31, I had a fun birthday. My birthday was on Shabbos. Sunday comes around, and like I had a decent day, whatever. And then we get to nighttime, and it was also daylight savings, and I get seasonal depression, and like all of a sudden it's dark at 4:30. I'm like, wow, I'm 31 and alone, and these like three boys just ghosted me. One of them I called out that night for ghosting me. We had literally gone on 2 dates. It was a chesed that I went out with him. I shouldn't have even gone on a second date.
What was so bad about him?
He was fine. Like, that was the thing. He was fine.
Okay.
He was totally fine. He was a little awkward. He was short. I make a lot more money than he does. He still lived with his parents. But like, he was fine.
Okay.
Like, he was a little awkward. He didn't offer to walk me home. I didn't like that.
Okay.
And he didn't dress up for the date.
Okay.
So fine. So we go on a first date, fine. I agree to a second date because whatever. Then after the second date, again, he didn't offer to walk me home. And he kind of asked me on a third date on the second date. And I apologize if I'm repeating the story because I might have said this in the last recording, but which Fanya did not hear because it is unreleased. He didn't offer to walk, but he kind of asked me on a third date. We had gone out on Sundays, but it was like my quarter end at work, and it was during Hagim, and I was like, he's like, okay, are Sundays good for you in general? And I was like, actually, no, I prefer during the week. I was gracious enough to give him my Sundays because I was busy at work and I couldn't like commit to a weeknight because it was so unpredictable whether I'd have to work late.
Okay.
So, and I told him that, and I was like, but we're filing this week. It's fine. And he's like, oh yeah, next weekend's your birthday. So like, it's fine. So we'll figure out like another time to go out. Fine. That means he's asking me on a third date, right? Like, so I was like, okay, I was gonna end it, but I guess I'll just go out on one more date. Cause I thought he was a nice guy. And I didn't want anyone to come back at me and be like, Rachel, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, you're so picky, like, whatever, you don't give anything a chance. So I was like, fine, I'll give it a chance. I'll go on one more date and then I will decide.
Okay.
Then, so I don't hear from him all week. We went out on Sunday. My birthday was Saturday. So not only did I mention on the date like 10 times that my birthday was on Saturday and telling him all the plans of what I was doing for my birthday on Saturday, but he also followed me on Instagram.
We saw your birthday.
Yeah, he watched every single one of my stories.
And then what?
Nothing. He did not wish me happy birthday, which in my book, like, if you're my friend or you're trying to be in my life and you don't wish me happy birthday, you're dead to me.
Okay.
Like, dead to me.
I am weird. You could say happy birthday.
Like,
you can say
literally,
happy birthday.
I went out with a guy around my birthday a different year, and I had told, like, I think our first date was like the day after my birthday or something, and I had told him that the previous day was my birthday. Like, how would he know? And then for our second date, he literally gave me a birthday card.
Yeah.
Like, I went on 3 dates with this guy, and he gave me a birthday card with, like, a piece of candy in it. Like, it's not
You
that
can
hard.
text happy birthday.
It's not that hard to, like, say happy birthday, especially if, like, you're interested. So I was like, okay, even if he is interested, he didn't wish me happy birthday, and he's dead to me. So I text my friend who set it up on Sunday night because I was like, I think this guy is ghosting me.
Right.
So the friend who set it up texts him, and he's like, oh, she's not for me. And I was like, what's he tell me that? Because the only reason I didn't send him a text immediately when I got home from the date 20 minutes later after we left
Was
because
he
he asked me
said,
on a third date.
right.
Or else I literally would have sent him a text when I got home, like, hey, didn't like that you didn't walk me home, but whatever. Good best of luck with everything.
Right.
We're not a match.
Right.
But no, I was like, okay, I'm giving him a chance. I don't hear from him for a week.
Maybe
No
he
benefit
was
of the doubt.
like,
No benefit of the doubt.
I don't know. And then a day later he
No
realized.
benefit of the doubt. I don't care.
I mean,
I
it's
don't
just
care.
weird.
I don't care. It was
For a
weird.
guy to do that.
It was weird. So then I sent him a text. I was like, because my friend's like being this go between, and he's like, "Do you want me to ask him?" And I was like, "No, I can handle this myself."
Right.
So I sent him a text. I was like, "Hey, hope all is well," or I was like, "Hey, haven't heard from you. Hope everything's good." I don't actually hope everything's good. I just say that to make them feel bad. Um, that I'm genuinely concerned about them. I'm not. I don't care if you live or die. I just want you to feel bad. But I was like, I'm not into ghosting, so I'm just gonna end this here. Best of luck with everything. Then he texted me back right away. He's like, I wasn't ghosting you. I was gonna text you tomorrow. I was like, bro, it's been a week. Like, that's not how we do things. But yeah, so anyway, so I was just like not
Sigh.
I wasn't like
Miss sigh. Sigh.
yeah, I was just like annoyed. I was just so annoyed. It wasn't even him. I didn't even like him.
Right.
I was just like, why does stupid guys keep ghosting me? And a different guy had ghosted me, and I'm just like, what is with these people ghosting me? I'm not into this. So then I wake up, I go to bed. I just like, when you just get into a depression spiral, like something triggered, like it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. And then I was like on the phone with the friend who set it up, and I'm just like telling him about like I'm gonna die alone, and now I'm 31, and I feel old and depressed about dating and whatever. So I go to bed. I listened to The Prophecy by Taylor Swift like 10 times before I went to bed, and I just like went to bed depressed. And then I wake up from a freaking text message from this boy in California, and I'm like, why? So then I'm like, why did you reach out? And he's like, oh, it was so weird. I was at a wedding last night, and there was a girl there named Rachel, and she was also an accountant, and she kind of looked like you. And I just thought it was weird, so I had to text you. And
That's
I
a
was
made
like,
up story.
I was
Sorry,
like,
that's a made up story.
why didn't
That's a made up fucking story. Sorry.
like
Sorry.
I was like, why didn't you just get her number?
That's
He was like, oh, I felt too weird getting her number because of you. I'm like, why? Do you still have lingering feelings from the 1 week we texted back and forth? Like, I just
in
August, like I'm like, I'm glad I made that big of an impact on your life. Like, I know I'm amazing, but it was just weird. So then I was like, but this is also weird that you're texting me now and that happened now because like of my weird day yesterday and whatever. So then I was like, okay, so like what do you want from me?
Right.
And like he couldn't give me an answer. And I was like, okay, so I think what we need to do here is like actually set up a time to like have a call or a video call. Cause I'm telling you 90% chance we're not gonna like each other.
You said that or he said that?
I said that.
And what did he say?
He's like, oh, ouch. I was like, I'm just saying, like, the percentage of people meeting and liking each other and it working out is so slim. Like, I bet you, like, I was like, whatever. If you're reaching out to me, like, you can't just reach out for funsies. Like, it's like, okay, you want to reach out and actually try to, like, have a call. I'm not saying, like, marry me. I'm like, I don't even know you.
Right.
I'm like, you're a stranger. But I'm like, why don't we just, like, have a video call and, like, see if we even like each other at all, have any type of chemistry, and then take it from there. And I'm like, literally the worst like, most likely case, we're not going to like each other, and it's going to be fine.
Right.
Worst case scenario, we fall madly in love and we work it out.
Right.
Even though like you're in California, you're not religious and all of this. So fine. Again, we texted for like a week, maybe. And I was kind of like, I was just busy. I didn't like want to set up a call and I was busy. But I don't remember what happened. At some point, he just like stopped. And I said it a lot of times because I really do think sometimes you need to say what you want.
Right.
And I'm like, I want you to text me in the morning. Like whenever, because you're in California. I'm like, just text me in the morning. Start the conversation. You want to talk to me? Start the conversation. I don't want to start the conversation.
Right.
And by morning, I mean his morning. Like, I
Right.
don't care if it's noon. Like, for me, like, you start the conversation. You reached out. You want to talk to me. You start the conversation.
Okay.
And I expressed that I wanted that multiple times. And again,
and he didn't.
and he didn't. And I'm not taking it I'm not taking this whole thing that seriously.
Right.
It's just more like, okay, I'm just annoyed that, like, you reached out to me.
Right.
What do you want from me?
Right.
So then at some point, I was just like, if he doesn't message me, I'm not gonna reach out to him. So like 3 days went by, and then I just sent him a message. I was like, next time you meet a girl at a wedding, get her number and leave me alone. I was like, please don't contact me ever again. Like, there was
Next time you meet a girl at a wedding, get her number and leave me alone.
yeah, no, I think I started it with like, you ghosting me after reaching out like that is actually like messed up.
That's so crazy.
Like, it's just messed up. Like I don't know what you want. It's not even like a booty call. It's nothing. There's nothing. You
know what it is? It's like
like
a parasocial emotional relationship because they have nothing else going on.
Yeah, and like, okay. But like, he was like, oh, I was busy moving. I was like, it's been 3 days. I was like, if you wanted to send me a text, you would have.
Right.
It takes 10 seconds.
Right.
Like, even if you would have just sent a text like, oh, hey, I'm moving. I can't really talk today. Like, cool, fine.
Okay, have fun moving.
Have
we'll
fun.
Talk tomorrow.
Yeah. Like,
No,
it's really that simple. And I'm just like, leave me alone. I didn't need you in my life in August. I don't need you in my life in November. I don't need you in my life ever.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
The guy that I went out with right before my current girlfriend, he super attractive guy. Let me just put that out there. Very attractive guy, studying to be an actuary, super nice. He goes, do you want to this is about like leave me alone. Do you want to meet up on whatever Saturday night to because I don't know how to drive. I only have a driver's permit. So I grew up in Brooklyn and just never and then I was going to school in the city. Like it never happened. I'm learning now. I went on one driving lesson, okay? He goes, we can go drive around like Bennett Field, like park, whatever it is, park. And like after that, like and that can be our date. And I'm like, and then we can and we can go to like drive through like Starbucks or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cute, whatever, like fine. I don't need an expensive date. I know that you're studying to be an actuary. I know that you're like between jobs right now because you're like he has a job and he makes a lot of money, but he was like really like saving to buy a house, studying to be an actuary, like like good things going on for him. He shows up 2.5 hours late to the date because he was ready for this, creating his fantasy football team draft.
Oh God. Immediate no.
He shows up and he's like, oh, so do you want to go drive? I'm like, well, because you showed up so late, that field is closed. There's nowhere to go learn how to drive now because they close it at night. He's like, well, we could still get a seasonal bev. I'm like, the drive-through is also closed. Shabbos ends super late in the summer. It's what are you talking about? And then he's like, well, what should we do? I'm like,
I'm surprised you even went on the date. I would have
like,
just told him not to come.
We had talked a little bit beforehand over like text, and I had found him to be like very smart and charming and obviously good looking. So I was like, I'm open to like one date. If it goes really well, this could be a funny story to tell later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But after like a half an hour, I would be like, let's reschedule.
And because he was texting me during those 2.5 hours, like, hey, I'm so sorry this is running late. I'm really sorry this is running late. I didn't expect it for it to run late. I'll be right there. I then ended up like we went, I don't know, like to get ice cream or something, whatever it was in like Brooklyn. And like, and it was fine, like it was deeply fine. And I just like thought afterwards, I was like, I don't care if you live or die. Like I really you showed up 2.5 hours late. Like I wish you well, bye, like have a good life, but like I don't need to speak to you ever again.
Yeah.
It was just weird. It was just a weird thing to do. It was weird.
No, if a guy is late, like I don't tolerate it.
This was I wouldn't usually, but like he was
especially for fantasy football. Like
I didn't know that it was for fantasy football until he got to the date and he explained why he was late.
I would have immediately turned around.
I was in his car.
I'd been like, bye.
And by the way, that's not usual because I was living in your neighborhood before, so like I never had been on car dates.
Oh.
In like recent memory. And like this was like someone that drove in from like Jersey or whatever.
Ugh.
Yeah.
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 Immediate ick.
Very strange.
I don't know. I'm not into that.
I'm also not into that, but that's like immediately what I think of when you're like, I don't care if you live or die. And I'm not trying to be callous about it. It's just like
No, it's just like I don't care about you. You're a stranger. I don't know
you're literally a
you.
stranger.
I have no emotional attachment to you. I do not care. Leave me alone.
Right. And I think it's fine. I think that's a normal and healthy way to approach dating. Like this is a first date. I have no commitment to you. I'm gonna say whatever I want. I'm gonna act myself and be myself.
Yeah.
And if you're for me, you'll stick it. If not, cool.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really hard. It's hard. I think I in my relationships, I was treated very well.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just date trash.
Mm.
Like these guys are trash. Like I went from a guy picking me up, dropping me off, driving me everywhere, always making sure I was like home safe, to like a guy who literally leaves me at the bar so he can go make his bus.
Fun.
Like,
Cute.
like, excuse me? Like you like not even a text, like, oh make like text me that you get home okay. Like,
Yeah.
I just I don't know. These guys don't care, so why do we care?
Yeah, I really don't. I honestly straight up like, like if a person like doesn't text me back right away, like if the person doesn't show interest, like I don't have a lot of emotional investment in someone until I like really get to know them. No, at least.
Yeah, same. Sometimes I like get annoyed at situations and I'm just like, why are you ghosting me? Like if you're not interested, say it.
Right.
Like, okay, another guy who ghosted me, and again, apologies if I already said this story. I can't remember. Basically, I went out with this guy about a year ago and we had one date. It was good. Like we got along great. It ended after like we didn't go out again because he's less religious or he isn't religious, and I have a little bit of trauma from that, like from past relationships. And I was just like, it was just like kind of a non-starter.
Mhm.
And like, whatever, we had a discussion about it, and it was okay. We decided we're not gonna take this further.
Right.
So fine. So in like the summer, I think, towards the end of the summer, he started liking me on dating apps. And I'm like, he definitely remembers who I am.
Right.
Like he knows who I am. Like there's no way he forgot. Like, yeah, we only went on one date, but like he added me on Loop. Like that means you remember who I am.
Right.
Like I didn't my appearance did not change whatsoever. My pictures might not have even changed. Like, or they might have. I try to update them. But like he knew who I was. So it was very interesting that he did. And then so I was telling a friend about this in like this was in September at some point. I was telling my friend about this, and she was like, why don't you just text him? She's like, because some of my religious stuff, my outlook on things changed a little bit over this past year. And like, I don't know, maybe I am more open-minded to things. And like, maybe I was too quick to shut things down before I like really understood.
Mhm.
So I was like, and we got along. Like, I think that was like the biggest part. We had good chemistry.
Right.
So I was like, okay. She's like, there's no harm in like sending a text. Like, he's clearly still like kind of interested if he's keeps liking you on dating apps. Like, that's
Right.
weird.
Right.
Like, when I see a guy I went out with on dating apps, I swipe left immediately. Like,
Yeah.
no, thank you.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, why don't you text him? So I sent him like a really casual text.
What do you say?
I think I was just like, hey, fancy seeing you in my matches. Would you want to catch up sometime?
Okay.
And he responded and he was like, yeah, I'm down. I was like, cool. Immediately, I was like, okay, what's your schedule? Like, he just said, yeah, yes. And I was like, okay, what's your schedule like? Like, are we actually planning something? And then he's like, I'm not sure. And I was like, okay. So then I asked like a few friends, I was like, what do I even say to this? Like, he just said he was interested,
Right.
but then he's like being weird about it. And so then they were like, why don't you give him like a specific day, whatever. So I don't remember. I was like, oh, are you free on this day or this day? Or like, I'm free on this day and this day. Would either of those work for you or something like that?
Right.
Again, not so pushy, just like, also like this was, by the time we were answering each other, this was like, it wasn't like immediate, whatever. So he responds, he's like, I'm not sure. He's like, oh, I'm not sure yet. I'll let you know. And I was like, okay, cool. Then a month and a half goes by and I don't hear anything from him. And I was like, okay, fine. Like, he's clearly not interested. I'm like, that's fine. It's just like weird that he said yes.
Yeah.
Like, if you were gonna ghost me, you could have just not answered the first text. Or you just could have said no. Like, that's the mature thing to do.
I don't understand. I don't get.
Like, I just don't understand it. It's like I put it out there very casually. You could have just been like, I don't think that's a good idea, or I'm not really interested, but I appreciate it. Like, best of luck.
Yeah.
Or literally, if you were gonna ghost me, just ghost me to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, just don't answer.
Yeah.
So then finally, I'm just in like an F it mood with my life. I'm like, I'm 31. I don't care. And I think was this before I turned 31? I don't even remember. No, it wasn't. It was after. Because it was a month and a half. A month and a half went by.
Yeah.
So I sent him a text and I was like, hey, um, I don't remember exactly what I said. I said it pretty nice and like pretty also casual. I was just like, hey, I haven't heard from you. Like, hope everything's okay. Um, I take it you're not interested, which is totally fine. I'm just genuinely curious. Why did you say yes?
Okay.
And he writes back, he's like, I have a lot going on right now.
All right.
And I was like, okay, cool. Like,
I don't know what to tell you. That's very strange.
it was just weird. It's like clearly you're not interested. Just say
It's
it.
very socially weird.
It's like weird. And it's just like, why couldn't you just say that at the beginning? Like, I'm not emotionally invested. I just thought it was weird that you kept liking me on dating apps, and I was like, oh, maybe I am open to this.
Right.
Again, we went on one date a year ago.
Right.
Like, I'm not invested. It's just more of like, oh, like maybe I'll have more of an open mind. Maybe I'm open to seeing this further. Like, it could have just been one date and done again. Like, who knows? It's not like I'm harboring these crazy feelings. Like, you're still basically a stranger.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Like, I don't care. Like, again, you could live or die, and I just like it's not ill will or anything. It's just like uh it doesn't affect my life whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh, this is interesting. Let's like do it for the plot. And also it's just like nobody can say I didn't try.
Yeah, no, literally, you actually literally did try.
Yeah, like I am trying to be open-minded, keep my options open, and no, I want to be right now I'm at a point I don't want anyone to be able to say I didn't try.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's my mindset right now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
With dating, with everything else, like I'm putting in my shadlu and nobody can say I didn't try.
Facts. Let me end this on a funny note, okay? I was suggested on Slido at Sinai / Why You Connect, this guy who grew up in like really deep in the Shomron on like a farm with a donkey.
Okay.
He like was in law school here in New York. He seems super normal because I didn't know that he grew up with a donkey when he was like suggested to me. This was like when I was super Shonagia, okay? He's like in law school, paying for it himself, like super hardworking, like served in the army, like wants to make Aliyah again, like heart, like just like go getter guy. And by the way, his pics like weren't bad. Okay. So I was like, I'm open to dating you. Like, cool. He hasn't met me before. He starts texting me back. He goes, so you know, like I grew up in the Shomron with a donkey. So my perspective on life might be a little different than yours. And I'm like, no, that's fine. Like I'm cool with people who grew up in all different kinds of situations. Like I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like that would be weird if I only dated people who grew up in my very niche specific situation. He goes, I don't believe in countries. And I said, what? He goes, I don't believe in borders and countries. I'm like, do you have a passport? He goes, yeah. I'm like, so what does it say on that? And he's like, USA. I'm like, so what are you talking about? He's like, some people don't believe in God. I don't believe in countries. I'm like, okay. I was like, I couldn't tell if he was joking. So I was like, I'll still go out with him. Okay. He tells me, do you want to meet at this cat cafe?
God.
As a first date, he goes, cat cafe? And I went, hey, I don't think this is gonna work out, babes. I think this is not a match, bro. Thank you. I'm good. He's like, you should have told me earlier than the day of the date. I'm like, I didn't know that it was gonna be a cat cafe that you were suggesting. Had I known that earlier, I would have saved us both a lot of time. He got angry at me. He like immediately got angry and defensive over text, and I blocked him. Okay, that's
Yeah.
part one of the story. Part two of the story. I was living with a girl who went on a Rebbitzins Shabbaton. Okay?
Yeah.
She goes to the Shabbaton. She's like very stark, super from, super Baal Tshuva, like that's the vibe. Went to Neve, like she was a Neve girly. She comes back and goes, yeah, there was a guy at the Shabbaton. We were all wearing name tags, except for him. Comes up to me and he goes, are you whatever? Like, you know my parents, you were at them for a Shabbos once 2 years ago. She goes, what's your name? He goes, whatever first name, whatever last name. She goes, yeah, I did stay by them when I was visiting this obscure city. You weren't there. How do you know that? It was 2 years ago. And she goes, where's your name tag? He goes, I don't believe in name tags. Okay, that's the energy. Part three, that's part two. Part three of this story. It's been now 5 years, 4 or 5 years since that happened. I'm sitting with my now ex-roommate, who I'm still very close with, and this girl who had been on that Shabbaton, who then became my roommate, okay? We're sitting there, and this girl, the third roommate, who had not been on this Shabbaton, she's like very secular. She like grew up in Vermont. Like she's not like that, but she's like very respectful of like us in our apartment, okay? But she was like the best girl. She's like swiping on like Tinder or Hinge or whatever, and we see this guy. And I scream. I threw my hands up. I'm like, please match with him. I literally, my voice went deep like a demon. I'm like, please match with him. She's like, what? I'm like, you must give me the phone now. He goes, hey, I messaged him first. I'm like, hey, how's it going? He goes, oh, it's great. I'm having a great night. What about you? I'm like, I'm on the way to the airport. He goes, oh, where are you going? I'm like, Afghanistan. He goes, oh my gosh, wow. There's flights to Afghanistan. Why? I'm like, we're stopping on the way somewhere. Probably Turkey. I don't know yet. He goes, what are you doing there? I'm like, humanitarian aid for books. Which, by the way, doesn't make sense linguistically, because you can't give humanitarian aid to books because they're not people. He goes, wow, that's so interesting. When did you get into that? I'm like, since I was a child. I've always wanted to give humanitarian aid to books. He goes, when will you be back from Afghanistan? I'm like, I may never return. And then years, and then 6 months after that, and then she like unmatched him, okay? After like I convinced him that this third girl was flying to Afghanistan to give humanitarian aid to books. Not the women that the Taliban is hurting. Books.
Also, are there flights from American Afghanistan?
No. I like fully convinced him of this. And then 3 months after that, I was like throwing a party or whatever, and someone invited him.
Oh no.
And I was like, he cannot come. He can't come and see this third girl. I told him that she was flying to Afghanistan for books. So I reactivated my Facebook and go to message him, hey, so-and-so accidentally invited you to my party.
Don't come.
Please don't come. I would be super uncomfortable given the fact that 5 years ago we had been suggested to each other on Why You Connect. And
my
he
God.
never read the message and also didn't show up to the party.
Okay.
So it was a win-win situation.
Does he live in this neighborhood?
He does.
Oh gosh.
Every couple of months, every time I see him, I just message the group chat of me and those two girls and go, humanitarian aid for books, and leave it at that.
Oh
To
my
this
gosh.
day,
I want to know if I know him.
This man literally thinks that my friend went to Afghanistan last year.
I wonder if he actually believed it.
He was really like writing, sending articles, like, what are you gonna do about the Taliban? Like, protect yourself. Are you going with like a military envoy? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, do you have like dual citizenship with another country? Like how will you be protected? Like,
and he didn't bring up the donkey once.
No, not to her.
I want to know.
Lying to strangers.
I want to know what donkey was relevant.
I don't know.
Like, I grew up in the Shomron with a donkey.
Yeah.
Like, why is that relevant?
Yeah. I grew up in the Shachim with a donkey.
Like, what?
He didn't even send a picture. He did not even send a picture.
The donkey. I was like, I want to see the donkey.
And then part like 4 or 5 to the story, we found out that girl who had gone to the Robinson's retreat, a friend of hers had like dated this guy. they went ice skating, and when he fell down, he got really mad at the ice. He like was like, ugh, F, can't believe it, fell down. Gosh darn it, and like walked away from her to go calm down because he fell on the ice. And that's why I didn't feel bad about lying about Afghanistan.
No, never feel bad. Also, it's funny.
It's one of the best dating stories
Also,
I have.
any guy who believes that you're going to Afghanistan to give humanitarian aid to bugs.
He
Like,
really believed that.
like,
I think he found her on Instagram afterwards and was like, hey, I see that you unmatched me. Like, I just wanted to check if you were okay in Afghanistan.
oh my God. Did she message him back?
No, she blocked him.
That's so weird. That's so weird.
I had a sign at the DC rally last year after October 7th that said best revenge question mark Jewish babies period. DM me at hey it's Fanya. The amount of DMs that I got from unhinged men,
Oh God.
I like was like, yeah, you're right to have blocked him.
Did you like did a lot of people message you?
A lot. A lot of them were ants being like, I have the perfect little boy for you. I have the perfect young man
Did
for
anything
you.
come of it?
Well, it was the picture that like IRL or Lizzie Savetsky posted.
Yeah, I
And
saw
I
it.
screenshotted that and put that on my Hinge, and that's what my current boyfriend like. That's the picture that he liked.
Oh, okay.
So maybe something did come of it.
Yeah. Like, did you answer all the DMs?
No, but the ones that were from grandmas, I answered.
Oh, okay.
Any creepy guy, I did not answer. But like, oh, there was one guy that tried to convince me that he was a real person and not like a fake guy from like Chicago who's like 50 and a lawyer or whatever. He like tried to, I was like, yeah, I literally, he's like, my mother works for that synagogue. I was like, I went on the synagogue's website. No such person works there or exists. You're a liar. And then I blocked him. But other than that, I didn't respond to any of the weird guys like did DM me. A few dates came out of that. A few like regular
Okay.
people. Rando dudes did not respond to them. Every single grandma I responded to.
Okay.
Every single aunt and grandma and old lady that loved me, I responded to.
Honestly, they're probably better.
Yeah, it was great. I love them. I love getting hyped by old Jewish ladies.
Yeah,
On
exactly.
Instagram who can't use social media. I'm using my nephew's account to let you know that I love you. Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks, Marsha. Gertrude, whatever other name. Fern.
Oh my gosh. That's funny though that like I guess something did come of it because he liked the picture.
Yeah. Hey, if I can survive dating, anyone can survive dating. That's my message to put out to the universe. Like
That should be your tagline.
great. I'll make that my tagline because literally, like the amount of nonsense that I have been through in terms of dating, which I have shared just now on this podcast, I don't think is like a statistically normal amount. I think it's like a crazy, like I just think that crazy people in crazy situations kind of tend to like gravitate towards me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey, if I can come out smiling on the other side, so can you. Really, so can you. Whoever is listening to this, like really, it's not that serious. It's gonna be fine.
Hopefully. We hope.
BH, Bezat Hashem, it's gonna be fine. BZH, BEZH, whatever. You get it. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah. Leon Haram.
Kamsa. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Knocks on wood.
Okay, Fanya, before we move to the wrap-up segment, do
Yeah.
you have any other stories, insights, anything else you want to share?
I think that's everything off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm sure I'll remember 7 just as I get home.
that's fine.
Yeah.
You can always come back for part
Yeah,
two.
exactly.
So okay, we've been giving advice all throughout the episode, but can you give me and my listeners one piece of dating advice?
Yes. I think the piece of advice that I have, I read this in a magazine, in like a secular magazine once. Sometimes as women, we're like, and this might apply less to men, okay? Men typically won't go on a second date with someone that they're not really attracted to physically, right?
Yeah.
Men's initial thing is like physical attraction, they gravitate to that, and then they figure out other things. Typically, I'm talking about the bell curve, typically.
Yeah.
For me, and for a lot of women that I know, it's like, I don't know if I'm attracted to him. He has so many great qualities. I don't know. Attraction can build, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
My whole thing is this. After like 5 or 6 dates, I think you should ask yourself, even if you're Shomer Nagia, I'm saying this as someone who was Shomer Nagia for almost 5 years, okay, in my 20s. After 5 dates, if you're not sure if you're attracted to them, ask yourself, do I want to see this person naked? Am I interested in seeing this person naked? And if the answer is no, you should break up with them because you're just getting to know them as friends. And that's a waste of their time.
Yeah.
And maybe like that's like a weird piece of advice. And I'm sure other people are like, stay open-minded, never give up. You're gonna find love. But my piece of advice is like very practical and
Yeah.
something that I know.
I tell people something similar. It's like, even if you're somebody, like, after a certain amount of dates, it's like, do you want to kiss him?
Yeah. And
And
if you
like,
don't,
if you don't, then you shouldn't go out again.
facts.
Okay. That's a good piece of advice. I like that one. Okay, and last but certainly not least, we just found your tagline, but do you want
I
to
was really worried about that.
you want to say your tagline again?
If I can survive dating, you can survive dating. If I can survive dating, you 100% can survive dating. Because I've been through the ringer.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Yeah, we're all just trying to survive here. Everything will happen when it's supposed to happen,
Facts.
if it's supposed to happen. I don't know.
No printer, just facts.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, Fanya, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Stay safe, homies, and don't forget to give humanitarian aid for books. It's my best story. That's a real story.
I believe it.
It's crazy.
I believe it. But yeah, so again, thank you, Fanya.
Whoop, whoop.
And Shitty Situation Nation, you'll catch me next time. Bye, everybody.